In this video, we are going to see some text functions in Excel that can help us extract portions of a text that we have within a cell. And the size, the number of characters can vary. So maybe we can have a item that is larger than the others, and we also may have some items that are smaller than the others, but it doesn't matter because those functions we can set them dynamically, and that way we can have the correct result. Basically, the items are separate in three different parts. There are the name, the color, and the ID. However, as we can clearly see, everything is banded together within those cells. I have a complete list that I want to separate, I want to split into the name, color, and ID. If we take here the ID and take a look, as we can see, the first ID has more numbers than the second one. That has less numbers than the third one, and on and on. So, as I said before, the number of characters that are letters and numbers can vary, no problem, because we're gonna dynamically set those functions. Find, left, mid, right, and len. All those functions are going to help us extract portions of a text within a cell. Now, let me get rid of those results right here, or before I get rid of, let me just show you here a practical example. I have here laptop, and I want to change the name. As we can see, I have laptop, the color is gray, and the ID is 15021. It's perfectly correct. Everything is being correct. However, I want to change the color to, let's say, gray and blue. Let me hit enter, and let's see here if the second color that is now gray is gonna be automatically updated for me. 1, 2, 3, enter, and yeah, as we can see, gray and blue now is the color. And if I change the name, instead of using laptop, I want to use laptop 1000 gigabytes and on and on. Okay, let me just keep with this information, and then I'm gonna hit enter. And as we can clearly see, the name is also updated for me. Let's find it out now. How can we do it with those functions that I said before? The first function that we can start with is equal sign and then left function. The left function, as we can see here in the board, left returns the specified number of characters from the start of a text string. So let me double click once in the function. The text that I want to use is the cell to the left, and then comma. The number of characters that I want to retrieve as a result, let's start with the number 3, or let's start with the number 5. Okay, 5. Close parentheses and then enter. I have smart as a result because smart has 5 letters or 5 characters. And as I'm consider starting from the left to the right, I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters. And those letters are equal to smart. Now if I change 1, 2, instead of using 5, I want to use maybe 10, enter. I'm gonna have the correct result, the name of this product right here. However, if I do the same thing for all the next rows that I have, I, of course, can, at the bottom right corner of the cell, click, hold, and drag down to make sure I can call this function down. Now, as we can see, we are almost done. I have some items that are correct, such as those 3 first items. However, the 4th one, the 5th one are not that correct because, as we can see here, the name is not complete. I have wireless earbuds, but here there is no... I'm missing here a part of this text. So how can I dynamically set to extract perfectly the name of all those items? Let me get rid of everything that I did. Now we can use another function, that is the equal sign defined function. But why should I use the find function to help me? Because the find function, as we can see here in the board, can retrieve a value that we are looking for, a criteria. So let's say I'm looking for the comma, and this comma right here is in a certain position. Let's say in the position 11. So this is what I'm gonna have as return, 11. And that way we can use this 11 as a criteria to have as the length of the name, because 11 is where the comma is at. However, the name of the item goes from the first character up to the 10th character. The 11 is the comma, and we can use the same logic for all the items that we have. Maybe digital camera has a different position for the comma because have more letters. Maybe we have here the chroma in the position 15, but doesn't matter, because if the position is 15, it indicates that digital camera has 14 different characters, okay? So we can use the same principle. Let me double click in the find function. I want to find the chroma. However, to input a specific text, I need to open quotations and then use what I need, such as comma, close quotations, and then chroma to move on to the second argument, that is the text, where I want to look for the chroma. Close quotations and then enter. 11. Let me bring this formula down to see what's going to happen here. Okay, as we can see, not all the items have 11 as the result. We have 17, 15, 11 again, but 7, and then 17, and on, okay? So we already know at this point that we already set dynamically the length of the name. Now what we can do is, I cannot use 11 as a value to consider the size of the name, because 11 is going to take also the chroma. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to subtract 1 unity, or -1, to have exactly the size of the text that I need. 1, 2, and then here in the immediately after the last parenthesis, -1, enter. Okay, before we drag this formula down, let's just finish this first test right here. So let me select everything that I did. Don't need to select the equal sign, right click and then cut. Now what I'm gonna do again is left function. 1, 2, to select the text is the one to the left, chroma. However, now the number of characters can vary, such as we saw with the find function. And this is why we're gonna dynamically use the find function within this number of characters argument. So let me right click here again, or Ctrl V to paste, and then I'm gonna go to the option paste. Okay, that's it. Let me close parentheses and then enter. As we can see, we have a smartphone as result. Let me bring this formula down and see if everything is gonna be correct. And yeah, everything is correct. It doesn't matter the size of the name, if it's larger than the other one, or if it's smaller than the others, because it's always gonna work the way we did here. So this is why it's very important to know how to use all those text functions in Excel. And the find can help us dynamically retrieve a specific portion of a text. Now let's move on to the color. Or actually, let's go to the ID. And why is that? Why I'm skipping the color? Because the color is more difficult to do than the other ones. So I want to do it. The last thing that I want to do is the color. So let me first go to the ID before we move on to the color. As we can see, the ID is the last portion of the item. Here, I don't want to consider that word ID to be used in the result. I just want to keep up with the numbers itself. And again, the quantity of numbers may vary from the items, from item to item, as we can see. So again, we're gonna need to think, how can we dynamically set correctly the length of the ID? Let's go here, equal sign, and start with the simple thing that is the right function, to do it right, okay? Double click, 1, 2, and then the text that I want to use is the one to the left, the item, chroma. Let's say I want to use 10 as the number of characters. Close parentheses and then enter. Okay, as we can see, I, of course, extract the ID, the numbers, but I also extract here something that I don't want to include in the result. So instead of using the number 10, maybe I can use lower numbers, such as 7, and then enter. Yeah, now it's correct. But let me bring this formula down to see what's going on here. Okay, yeah, we have some errors because, again, we're gonna need to set dynamically a formula to avoid this issue with the ID, because each one of those numbers have a different size, a different length, number of characters. So again, maybe we can use the find function to help us. But how can we do it with the find function? Because to take the name is very easy, because it's the first portion of the text. However, the ID is the last part of the text. And how can we do it? Maybe we can consider the ID colon, or just ID, I don't know. Maybe I can use ID colon space as the criteria. Those 4 different characters, ID, colon, and space, 4 different characters to be used in the find function, because all the items has in common the ID colon space. Okay, so I can use this criteria. Equal sign, I want to find, double click on to, find, open quotations, ID, colon, space, close quotations, comma, within this text right here to the left, close parentheses, and then enter. Okay, the first one is in the 20th position, the position number 20. Let me bring this formula down to see what we're gonna have as the result. 20, 28, 20, 34, and on and on. So, okay, we already have dynamically the result retrieving the correct position for the ID. But the problem is, let's say 20 is the first result. So the ID is in the position 20, but this position 20 is just right here. It's the start point, not the ending point. So maybe we need to consider this point right here instead of this first one right here, that is 20. But let's see. And okay, we already have 20 as result. Now what we can do is, because I need this last portion, imagine if I use the right function and use 20 characters to retrieve as result. We're gonna have a lot of letters and numbers that I don't need to use. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe I'm gonna have all those portions of the text to in the result. 20 characters, but I don't need 20. So what I'm gonna do is 20 is this length right here. What I need to find next is the total length of the text. So let's say 30 is the result, okay? So if 20 is the length until the ID and 30 is the total length, I can do the difference between those numbers. Maybe 30 minus 20 is equal to 10. So 10 is the length of just the numbers of the ID. So this is what I'm gonna do here. Let me, instead of getting rid of everything, in the second cell right here, we have another function to learn. That is the equal sign, the length function, the length, the number of characters that there is within a cell. Let me double click on 2, and then if I select any cell, let's say the first one, and then hit enter, as we can see, I didn't know the results was the same as I said before. However, take a look here. 30 is the total length, and 20 is the length until the ID. So the difference is the number itself, that is 10. So let's do it. Let me get rid of everything. Equal sign, the first thing that I need to do here is I want to retrieve with the right function. Double click on 2, and we need to use the number 10, right? That is this number right here. Or maybe we need to do some adjustments because, as I said before, maybe the position is starting right here, the 20, and we need to consider this position right here, maybe 23. I don't know. But let's see. The text is this one to the left, comma, the number of characters that I want to consider, I don't know, I need to set it dynamically. So what I'm gonna do is length function, length, double click 1, 2 of this text right here, again to the left, close parentheses, and I want to subtract minus the find function. 1, 2, that is gonna use open quotations, the ID, colon, space, close quotations as the criteria. Comma, and then again the cell to be used as the criteria, close parentheses again, and then I'm gonna hit enter. Okay, almost correct. Let me bring this formula down to see what's gonna happen here. As we can see, we have a pattern. All those IDs contains all the numbers that we need, have the numbers, and all of the IDs also have the D, colon, and space. Now we need to get rid of the D, the colon, and the space. So they are 3 different characters. Double click on 2, and here within the find function, we can subtract 3 characters, and then enter. Now we have the correct result. Let me bring this formula down, and we're done. So this is how we can do it, to have exactly the last number always. It doesn't matter the size of the text. It doesn't matter if you include something else. Let's say a larger number like this. I'm gonna hit enter. And as we can see, the result is going to be automatically updated for me. Now let's move on to the colors. How can I do it? Equal sign, because the color is in the middle of the text. We also have here a function that is called mid or middle. Let's double click 1, 2, and I want to use this text right here. Comma, the start number, maybe I can use 11. I think it's correct. Comma, and the number of characters I can use, let's say 5. Close parentheses. What is going to happen is 11 and 5. Those are the numbers that I'm using. 11 is where I want to start, going from the left to the right. So maybe 11 is just right here. And then 5 is what I want to retrieve, is the length that I want to retrieve as result. Let me hit enter. Okay, no, it's not correct. 1, 2, let me adjust. Maybe 13, and the size I can use 6, enter. Okay, black, trauma. 1, 2 again, instead of 6, I want to use 5, and then enter. Yeah, now I have the correct color. Let me bring this formula down, because that way we can see that it's not gonna work for all the rows that we have. Again. So what I can do in this specific situation right here is I need to dynamically set both parts of the function right now, the start point and also the ending point, because the color is just in the middle. So I need to dynamically know where it starts and also where it ends. Let's start first where it starts. And to do it, again, we can use the find function to find the chroma. Equal sign, find function. Double click on 2. I want to find a chroma to go to the second argument within this text right here. And then hit enter. Okay, 11. 11 is the position of this comma right here. So the black word that I have, the color, starts in the cell in the position 13. Because the position 12 is the space, so the first letter B is 13, and then 14, 15, and on and on. So let me double click here, 1, 2. I want to now add one unity plus 1, because that way I'm gonna start from the space. No, I don't want to start from the space. So let me add one more unity. So plus 2, yes, 13. Now let me double click here, the color 1, 2. Immediately after the first equal sign, I want to add here the mid function, because now we already set dynamically where the color starts. Let me double click 1, 2 to select the text that I want to use is the one to the left, comma. The start number we already set right here. So let me skip all this formula and then comma. And the number of characters, I don't know. It may vary. It can change. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set 20 as result. But are we gonna change it later? Let me close parentheses and then enter. Okay, I have black as the color, but I also have here the ID numbers. Let me bring this formula down, and as we can see, it's almost working, because now we already have all the colors, even though the colors have the ID. Now what we need to do is get rid of the ID, and that way we have the right position dynamically. 1, 2. So what I'm gonna need to do here is set the number of characters. Instead of using 20 manually, or like I did here, we need to dynamically find a number. Let me get rid of everything, but I want to keep the first formula. Let me use here a cell to the right, just to don't mess up with everything else. And then equal sign, find function. 1, 2, or actually what we can do is, let me use the comma space ID as criteria, because as we can see, all the items have this same portion in the text, the same part, that is comma space ID, comma space ID. I can use and find what is the position of this part of the text. So let's say position 20. Okay, and that way we're gonna know 20, but now we need to just have this specific part right here. So let's say from the start of the text up to this point right here is equal to 20 characters. But we only need to have the length of the color itself. So what we can do is, we can also find this portion right here, the first comma, and let's say the first comma is in the position 10. So it indicates that the difference between 10 to 20 is equal to 10. So this difference is exactly the size, the length of the color itself. Maybe we need to do some adjustments, because immediately after the comma, we have the space. And maybe we need to adjust this little detail. So let's go here and equal sign, find function, 1, 2. I want to start with open quotations, comma, space, ID, close quotations. Okay, I want to know what is the position of this portion right here, comma, within this text, close parentheses. And then I want to subtract minus another find function. Double click 1, 2. And the text that I want to find right now is this position right here. So comma, open quotations, comma, close quotations, comma, within this text, and then close parentheses, enter. Okay, 7. Let me bring this formula down, and as we can see, now we have a small number, 7, 15, 7, 5, 7, and on. Maybe 7 indicates exactly the size of the color that we have. Here we have 15 because we have a larger color or a larger name, gray and blue. But we're gonna see if it's gonna work. So let me get rid of everything. Just keep up with the first formula, 1, 2. I want to select everything but the equal sign, right click, copy, escape, get rid of the function, double click in the color, 1, 2. And instead of using 20 that I manually input here, I want to now select the 20, right click, and then paste the function that I did copy before. I'm gonna hit enter. And as we can see, I almost get it right. Black, comma. Let me bring this function down. And as we can see, we are almost there. Black, comma, gray and blue, comma, and on and on. What I need to do is get rid of this comma right here. Maybe we also have a space before the comma. I don't know because we can't see, right? We can't see the space. 1, 2. So if I want to get rid of a character, it's because I need to decrease the value, right? So I need to decrease the difference. And to decrease the difference, just right here in this calculation where we are doing the difference between the numbers, I want to decrease the value. So minus 1, let's say, enter. Okay, nothing changed. 1, 2, minus 2, enter. Okay, now we got it right. Let me bring this formula down again. And yeah, that's it. So now we have the name, the color, and the ID. The first portion, the middle portion, and also the last part of the items that we have. And again, doesn't matter if you include here a new item. So let me show you. Jopa Excel, it's a very special item. And then color, I don't know what color I am, but let's consider here I'm green. And let's say blue, comma, and the ID, colon, space, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, space, 1, 2, 3, space, 3, 2, 1. So as we can clearly see, I make some changes right here. Let me hit enter. And as we can see, Excel dynamically bring down the formula and everything is working. The name, the color, and also the ID. So this is how we can do it, guys. I hope this video can help you. And if you have any questions or any suggestions to the next videos, let me know, comment down below, and I see you tomorrow. As every day has a new video, I see you there.